Hi, I'm Kelsey and welcome back to Photographer in the Making. Today we're going to be looking at how I turned this image into this. This is an outdoor landscape photo from Loch Lomond in daylight. Now first up, I've loaded it up into Lightroom Classic. The first thing that we're going to do is go to the highlights. I'm going to turn these up by a little bit, but not too much. And the shadows. Again, we're going to go until the leaves look nice and green, but not too light. So I'm thinking around 60. I'm then going to go to the whites and blacks, and these can really help make a photo stand out. Since I have a lot of white on the river here and in the sky, I'm not going to turn that by too much. I don't want it to look too overexposed. We've also already got a lot of black in the photo, so I'm not going to hit that just yet. Now let's go to the clarity. I'm going to turn this up by a little bit. As you can see, it really makes a big difference. This is at 0 and this is at 17. Huge difference. This can really help when you're editing a hazy photo, as we can't really see the background of this photo with the mountains. They are quite light. Up in the clarity can really help make them stand out. Now that we've got the photo more in focus, we can see what we're working with. Right, and now we're at the colour wheel. I'm not going to touch too much here, because I want it to look really natural because it's a landscape photo, but I do want to make the photo quite brighter and more warm. So I'm just going to play about with it here again and just see what's looking best. Now this golden area here is looking really nice. So I'm going to put it to about there, and that is the mid-tones. We're then going to go to the shadows and see what's looking good. Now this is looking quite nice there. The leaves looking a bit too green here, a bit too orange here, but the blues, it's nice and natural. Just going to make sure that I've got the right colour here. Got about there, should do. I've got the highlights here. I'm not going to touch these too much. Would be nice to make the sea look a little bit bluer, so I'm going to do the teeniest little tad there. We can go back into this area here like in the previous video where we've looked at how you can balance the tones. I'm going to brighten that a little and bring that down. Let's go to balance and blend in. You have to play about with these, but they can really help make a photo look much better. I'm going to go full with the blend in, as if you look at the water, it looks much nicer. Balance, again, it just really plays about with the colours. I quite like the blue. This is very green, it's very blue. The blue makes the background stand out more compared to how much of the image is green. Again, just up the next bar with sharpening. We've already got a lot of trees going on, a lot of greenery. If we put in too much sharpening, it's going to completely overtake the photo. So just a little bit will do. Now let's go up to the exposure. We don't need a lot here, as I've already got a lot of exposure going on the water and in the background. Teeniest little drop just to make it a little bit clearer will do. And with the contrast, again, we don't want to do too much, so we've already got a lot going on in the tree. So the teeniest little drop will just help make the photo stand out more. Now let's go to temperature. I want quite a nice golden photo, so I'm going to bring this up to the warmth. You see it here, too blue, and it's looking better on the yellow bit. We can see more in the photo. So I'm going to work my way down and just see what I like most. About there, I think, maybe a little bit less. About there. Now also don't make it any more green. We've already got loads going on, so let's see if the pinks can do any difference. I'm thinking about there, so pretty much where it originally was. In fact, now that I look at it, I am going to go a little bit more here and a little bit there. It is important to look out, zoom in, make sure the quality is looking okay. It does take a second to load, but when it does, you can see how your photo's looking. And obviously now we can see it overall. Now one thing I am noticing is that the photo was not entirely squint. The main line in this is the tree, and this line across the middle of the photo, I want them to be in line. So I'm going to rotate the photo to keep it parallel You see that line in the middle? I want to keep it parallel to the ones that we already have. So about there. Now, because of the tree, it makes it look a little bit squint. So I'm going to go back this way a little, just to balance it out. And that looks much better. Now up here we've got a lot of white gaps. So I'm going to crop these out, as it will make a really big difference in how the photo makes you feel. If you look at that, it's much more absorbent, is the word that I'd use. And I might crop it in at the side. I'm going to see how it looks. Again, the great thing with Photoshop and Lightroom is that you can always go back if you make your if you change your mind. I'm going to go do that, see how it's looking. Zoom out a little. It does take a lot of playing about, but you will get there eventually. I think that looks quite nice. I might bring it up a little bit just to keep this line here in the middle of the photo. There we go. I think that looks quite good. Now, in some cases I will put the photo into Photoshop. I think in this instance it might not need it, but what I'm going to do is go back through these settings here and just see if any of them help tweak them, make them a little bit better. Now I do want a bit more contrast, again not by a lot, it just really helps it stand out, maybe up to about, thinking about 15. Highlights, I would like to add them a little bit at the end, it just helps spruce it up, but you don't ever need too much of that. Shadows, I might bring this down a little bit. See, if you bring it up, this looks much brighter. We also have a lot of detail, which is the only issue. If you look down here, it's just a blur. You know, there's no contrast to it. So if you do up your shadow, then also up your contrast. And that is what I'm going to do. About 30. Oh, look. I do think that looks much better. And let's keep going. Whites, again, we decide not to add too much of that. I think it looks fine where it is for now. Blacks, I'm not going to touch them. Clarity and dehaze. Dehaze. Now it does look better with a little bit. Also got quite a hazy background. So let's add this up by about 5 or 10. Let's go 6. And instantly the photo just looks magic. Clarity, again, I won't play about with this too much, but it is making quite a lot of nice bits of light here. So maybe where it is will be just fine. Again, we can play about with it here, see if anything's making a difference. Don't want too much highlights. I don't want to take away from the quality of the I'm going to bring them down so that we can see more of the background, but when we come down here I'm going to brighten it up. It's all about balance, totally. Just tweaking and changing and going back and forth and you'll finally figure the right way. And highlights, that always makes a big difference. And there we go. That is my finished photo for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.